We're going to start this again. You will know it, but yes, I had to start again. Um, at any rate, at this point, like everything's in the modules, and I'm just going to walk you through the PowerPoints for the section, what we need to be learning in section 2, unit 2. Um, right, obviously, go to the module. Here's unit 2, and we're going to start with distributions. Size and everything is okay. So histograms and bar graphs. So, right. So we do a lot. Hopefully you've seen, I'm guessing you've seen this somewhere before, right? We do, do representations in pictures, right? Not just written descriptions of things, but we do representations in pictures, and the way we represent, show data a lot of times is in bar graphs, as you can see right here. And this is a bar graph, and I didn't tell you that the difference between a bar graph and a histogram is only that in a bar graph, the bars don't touch. So this is actually a bar graph. For both, it doesn't matter. The y-axis, the vertical axis is called the ordinate, and the x-axis, or the horizontal axis, is called the abscissa. Don't bother. I'm not going to say that word ever again. Right, so typically this is a level of the scores, and we list our scores over here, and then this is the frequency of how many people or how many subjects got those scores, those particular scores. And so we'll get more into this, right? And then this is the histogram, right? So here we can say, and it's like I said, the bars are touching. So here, if the scores go from negative to, let me just, let's say it goes from, probably goes to 4, but 3, because there's no force, right? So here's the opportunities to go from negative 4 to 4, or 3 to 3, actually, and they put an extra number on each side, and we'll talk about that another. At any rate, so as you can see here, this is what I said. So this is the number of people, let's say, that got score of negative 3, 40 people, right? 60, 80 people got a score of negative 1, and let's see, and this says 0. We're just going to say, like, basically that would be 100, right? But that's how this correlates. One side, like, if this is a score of negative 3, that means 40 people got it. Okay. And like I said, I'm guessing you've already seen bar graphs and histogram. This is what we call a polyfrequency polygon, and basically what we do is mark the points, right? And then the number of people that got that. So a score of 40, nobody got a score of 44.5. 5 people got a score of 54.5. Right? And we're going up in increments of 10 on the scores. 10 people got 64, like 30 people got this, right? 40 people got 84, and on and on, right? So that's another demonstration of how we show data in pictures. The other thing, and the main thing we're going to be talking about, is a little fuzzy, but you should still be able to read it. Because really what we are going to be talking about mostly is this right here, right? And this is what we refer to as the bell curve. I refer to it all the time as the bell curve. It's the normal curve, but obviously it looks like a bell. So I will interchange those two things, but normally I will be saying bell curve. It's just a bad habit, I guess, right? And we're going to discuss mean, median, and mode in the next part of this unit. So we will get to that. But this is basically your normal curve, and we work with this a lot, and all the theory is based on this kind of shape right here. This shape is what we call a positive skew, which means, unfortunately, that most of the people scored on the negative. And over here, it's what we call a negative skew, which counterintuitive. Most of the people scored on the high side. I know. It doesn't sound logical, but that's the way it is. Okay. So we're gonna be working on with all of these, but this is really the one you're gonna get the most information about. Right. And so this is what we say. And all right. So this is, like I said, the normal bell curve, and what we're going to be talking about a lot. So if you go back here, right, I said the mean, median, and mode is right here in the center, and they are all together. And as you can see in these other pictures, that's not true. But in this representation of the bell curve or the normal curve, it is. So this is the mean, median, and mode right here. And we'll get to why that's important. And then we break the curve up into standard deviations, which we will go through in this unit too. So, right, this is your first exposure. And on the mean, median, mode are right here in the middle, right? The most people got this score, the mode, the mean, the average, the mean is right here, and the median, the middle, so the score, the middle of the curve is right here. The middle score is right here also. Everybody else got on top of this higher than this, and half the people got lower than this. We're going to get into that. But the curve is broken up basically into what we call 3 standard deviations, and this is the symbol for standard deviation, and you're going to get in there, see this later in our other section, right? But this is the way we talk about the curve. And we're going to get more. And we also have what's called the bimodal distribution, which is when we have 2 modes, right? Modal modes. We have 2 modes, meaning we have 2 scores that happen the most, right? Like, so 2 people, like 6 people got a 10 and 6 people got a 20. In this case, see, the 0.2 is -2, and that probably like 1.5, right? So these are the 2 most scores. Right? The frequency of these is the most, and it's exactly the same. So it's bimodal, 2 modes. Okay, and we're going to get into this more. All right. So that's your shapes, right? And that's really what we're going to. That's the first introduction. Obviously, I didn't take any math, but the math is coming up next. And next, we're going to move on to mean, median, and mode. And many of you are, have heard this before, or you've seen it. Once we talk about it, I think you'll a little bit. You should, hopefully, you're going to understand it better. All right. So these are our shapes. This is what we're going to be working with. And as I said, this is going to be our main area of where we're working. Okay. That's it. We're going to